Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm doing a video that I'm really excited to do just because I think the concept is very interesting. That is going to be me talking about the worst books that I've read according to Goodreads average ratings. So I saw Leonie from the book Leo do this video a couple of days ago and immediately knew that I wanted to film it as well. I know this has been a thing for a while, but that's just where I got my personal inspiration to do this video from. So I thought we could go through the list of 10. I can talk about what rating I gave them and whether or not I think they deserve the slander that they got. So all of these have a 3.5 rating or above, which is like a decent rating, but also I think ratings for books on Goodreads are pretty high in general. So these are just the lowest ones that I have, and I've kind of skimmed through the list a little bit and I'm excited to talk about them. So we're gonna start with the highest rated of the 10 and then we're gonna work back to the lowest rated of the 10. So the highest rated book on this list has an average rating of 3.67 stars, and that is The Near Witch by V.E. Schwab. Personally, I give this book a 4 stars. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a fun story and it was well told. It's not like amazing, but it's like a solid book and I feel like it deserves better. I think the problem is that this is Victoria Schwab's first book and a lot of people like come back to this one after they've read her like, you know, big amazing series like the Shades of Magic trilogy, the Villains duology, The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, all those books that like, you know, are super hyped and people love, but then they go back to this one and it's not as like fantastical and like well fleshed out, and the characters are like okay but not as amazing as some of her other characters, and they're disappointed. So I see why this is like in this list, but do I think it deserves to be in this list? No. The number 9 slot on this list goes to Cycle of the Werewolf by Stephen King, and this book has a 3.66 average star rating. This is like not really a graphic novel, it's more of a novella, but it has a lot of pictures throughout it. I used to have a copy of this, but I think I donated it at some point. Yeah, I cut down my Stephen King collection a while ago and this is one of the ones that I got rid of, so that says anything. I gave this book a 4 stars. I'm kind of surprised I gave it a 4 stars, to be honest. It was good and I think the story was good. I don't know if it deserves a 4 stars though. I feel like if I was reading it, I'd probably give it a 3 stars. Again, it just doesn't live up to like the iconic, popular work of Stephen King. If you started off by reading things like Misery, Salem's Lot, Pet Sematary, and you go back to this one after you've read all the big ones, you're probably gonna be disappointed by comparison. So I see, again, why it's in this list. Kind of the same reason as the last one. It's okay. It's not my personal favorite. So do I think it deserved to be in this list? Yes. Oh, I didn't realize both of these were on here. Okay. The number 8 slot on this list goes to something that is probably in everybody's bottom 10 if they've read this book. And that is Twilight by Stephanie Meyer, coming in with an average rating of 3.63. Do I think the rest of the series is good? No. But we're gonna talk more about that in a couple minutes here. My problem with Twilight is I have a huge nostalgic connection to it because I read these when I was in like late elementary school, early middle school. It would like started my love of reading like YA books at the time and kind of like got me into the more popular, you know, series that were out at the time, and I loved the movies when I was younger too. So obviously I will not accept any slander on the first Twilight book because I love it. Not in like a serious way, alright? I don't think it's good. The writing's pretty bad and the relationship is pretty toxic, but I still love it for what it is. Anything with vampires in it, I'm into. Do I think it deserved to be in this list? Probably. The 7th spot on this list goes to Tidings of Great Joy by Sandra Brown, which has an average rating of 3.62. I read this book December of 2020 because I was looking for any Christmas books I could get my hands on, and this one happened to be around my house because my mom read a lot of Sandra Brown back in the day. And I saw this one, the cover was red, it had like Christmas ornaments on it, I think, and I was like, okay, yeah, I'll read that one. It's short, it's like a Christmas romance, and I gave it a 3 stars. Honestly, I don't remember like any of what happens in this book at all. I remember it being super cliche, super 90s romance, and that's all I got. That's literally it. Do I think it deserved to be in this list? I don't know. Probably. I remember it was really short, and I don't think anything wowed me in it whatsoever. So probably it probably deserved to be in this list. The next 3 books on this list all have the same rating. It's a 3.57, so they could really be in any order, but I'm just gonna go with the order that Goodreads has given me here. So the 6th spot on this list goes to Blood and Honey by Shelby Mahurian, which is the 2nd book in the Serpent and Dove series. I gave this book a 3 stars, which at the time I think I was being kind of generous. I did not like this book, and I think the reason I didn't like it is because I was comparing it to the first one, Serpent and Dove. I loved Serpent and Dove. I really loved the plot, the relationships, the friendships in that book. It was also good. I was obsessed. I was really excited to pick up the second one, and when I did, I was sorely disappointed. It's not an awful book, but oh my god, nothing happens in this book. I can't tell you anything that happens in it because nothing happened. Things happen towards the end of the book, but that's it. I still get really heated thinking about it, and I need to read the 3rd book in this series at some point just to see if it got revived somehow, but do I think it deserved to be in this list? Yes, it was deserved. The next book on this list is Bunny by Mona Awad. I'm not shocked at all. It has an average rating of 3.57, and I absolutely see why this book is in this list. It's not for everybody. You either love it or you hate it. I really liked it, and I gave it a 4 stars, but it's incredibly open-ended. You get like no answers to your questions, and I liked it. I was into that aspect, but I can see how that would be incredibly frustrating for a lot of people. So, do I see why it's in this list? Yes. Do I think it deserved to be in this list? No, because Bunny is so creative, the writing's amazing, and I loved it. So no, I don't think it deserved to be in this list. But the next book on this list I have some thoughts on, and it is New Moon, the 2nd book in the Twilight series. Does anybody like this book? I must know. I gave this book a 2 stars, and I think that was being generous. The main draw of the Twilight series for me is the vampires. Any book or movie or TV show that has vampires in it, I will read it or watch it, and I will eat it up. You know what this book didn't have? Like, no vampires. For like the middle segment, like a very large chunk of this book, it was just Jacob. And I hate Jacob so much. I just have really strong thoughts. This book is awful. It advances the plot in no way. Nothing happens. I hate it. I will hate it for the rest of my life. I have very strong feelings about it. If you haven't guessed it by my mini rant there, yes, I think this book deserves to be in this bottom 10 list. The 3rd book on this list wounds me greatly, and that is The X Hex by Erin Sterling with an average rating of 3.56. I gave this book a 5 stars. I loved this book. I know a lot of the complaints surrounding this book are on like the magic system and how rushed the plot is towards the end, which I am recognizing, but I am choosing not to let that affect my rating of this book because I just loved this book so much. I loved the main characters, I loved the romance, I loved like the little bit of like magic that was in it, and it was like the perfect autumn read. So no, I don't think this book deserved to be in this list. Am I being biased? Yes. The penultimate book on this list is Landline by Rainbow Rowell. This book has an average rating of 3.55 stars. I gave this book a 2 stars, and I think this book is when I realized that I should not read Rainbow Rowell books. I hated this book. The whole book was like kind of just based on miscommunication, which is ironic because the like theme of the book is communication because it's about this phone that this woman picks up that lets her talk to her husband like 20 years ago, but she won't like go actually talk to her husband now, and it's just so stupid. It also revolved around like 40-year-olds, which also like I was not into, and maybe that's like my own problem, but I hated this book and I think it deserves to be on here. It's not good, and I wouldn't personally recommend it. The last book on this one also kind of offends me, and that is Well Played by Jen DeLuca. This is like the 2nd book in the Well Met series, even though it's not really a series, but it's kind of a series. I really liked this book. I am hurt that this is like the lowest one on the list. I gave it a 4 stars. I thought the romance was cute. I listened to it via audiobook, which I typically tend to give like romance books that I listen to via audio higher star ratings than ones that I physically read, I've noticed, and like that's my own problem, but I listened to this one via audio and I just thought it was the perfect audiobook. I loved it. The first one is the best of the series, like, no doubt. But I don't think the second one deserved to be this low. I just thought it was such a fun summer romance, and apparently nobody else did. But do I think this book deserved to be on this list? No, I do not. So, that is the 10 worst books that I have ever read, according to Goodreads, of course. I'm really not that offended by it because we all have different reading tastes, we all have things we like, and that's okay. I'm kind of hurt over the X Hex though, but aside from that, you know, whatever. What are my conclusions from this video? I don't know if I really have any. I feel like this was kind of a mixed bag, because some of these I really liked, some of them I didn't like. I feel like I liked more than I didn't like. Maybe this is just Goodreads telling me I don't have taste. Fair. So if you did enjoy this video, please go to your Goodreads, sort it by like lowest average rating, and let me know if there's anything that shocks you, because I'm very curious. Or maybe are any of these on your list? Let me know. Anyway, yeah, I will see you guys in my next video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!